Saturday, April 20th, I, Rory McCain, joined by Ethan Caudill-Derego, went to Crescent Elk Middle School to cover the Pollinator Palooza event, which was an event featuring poetry, song, and interpretive dance, all inspired by pollinators. After we walked in and took our seats in the auditorium, the show started off with Marcia Morgan giving some exposition on the event, and thanks to everyone who was a part of the production.
My goal was to help bring awareness to something that you may have heard about, which is the diminishing number of pollinators. When these beneficial pollinators are reduced in number, our entire way of food production will be severely compromised, thus showing how our human life cycle and health is endangered as well. There are many reasons why pollinators are imperiled. For example, habitat loss, extreme weather conditions, and the use of pesticides. The question sometimes asked is, why should we care? A key thing to remember is 1 out of every 3 bites of our food is due to pollinators. That's an amazing thing to think about. Birds, bats, bees, butterflies, moths, beetles, and other small mammals that pollinate plants are responsible for helping bring food to our table. They also sustain our ecosystems and produce our natural resources by helping plants reproduce. The very plants that bring us countless fruits, vegetables, nuts, half of the world's oils, fibers, and raw materials. The plants, in turn, prevent soil erosion and increase carbon sequestration. This ecosystem is a precious resource that requires attention and support, and in the evidence found around the globe is increasingly in jeopardy. So, knowing how this ecosystem supports us and how our actions can help support the pollinators is very important. In a nutshell, pollinators need us and we need pollinators. As individuals, we can all take small actions that will make a difference. And we're not alone when even some of the 8 billion people on the planet each take a small action towards a better world. So my grant as an individual artist was threefold: to illustrate the lyrics of the song, The Honest Earth by Del Morgan, for a book, and to incorporate this art into a video animation of the song, and to hold this pollinator fair and involve local youth in art, dance, gardening, and science projects related to pollinators. What you'll see today on stage and in the multi-purpose room here at Crescent Elk will be the culmination of 4 months of learning and dedication by these young dancers, scientists, artists, gardeners.
She was then followed by a dance performance featuring little ones in butterfly outfits, choreographed by Alter Ego Dance Studio and accompanied by music by Dale Morgan.
Next was a prize raffle for all attendees, featuring many pollinator-centered things such as monarch stickers, gardening supplies, and bee pins.
And that's a neat one, huh?
There was also a poetry recital from esteemed poet Terry Glass, followed by an encore dance performance.
Okay, so this first poem I'm going to read is called Bee Remedy, and this is from my book called Being Animal, which is all about the animal world, which I've always been fascinated with and truly love. And this poem I wrote probably about 5 years ago. April, and the bees are in a tizzy, with wisteria spilling perfume into the air. Their lavender flowers cascade down the trellis where underneath I sit in a wicker swing showered with blossoms. I become the surround sound of bees, an orchestra of busyness. I sense their purpose, the hard work of nosediving into flower after flower. What a life to fall into technicolor sweetness. What a life to hum into existence, airy and driven and mad about the flower kingdom. A love affair we only get a glimpse of in our gravity-dense bodies that keep calendars and clocks ticking our lives away into checkout lines and commuter lanes. I'm thankful for the work of bees, even though I've been stung. Their little poison in my skin is almost honey to my tongue. Okay, thank you.
After the show commenced, everyone was invited to the gymnasium to check out the informative displays about pollinators made by some of the same young ones who had danced. There was also a little quiz game where people could test their pollinator knowledge.
Ethan snagged a quick interview with Terry Glass, who had recited her poetry earlier.
Terry Glass, I am a poet, writer, and educator, and I'm also a fellow grantee of Upstate California Creative Corps, as Marcia Morgan is, who created this pollinator fair. And she invited me to come and share the poems that I have written about bees and butterflies. So I came to share that poetry and also make people aware of my own project, which is called Plea for Wildlife, which is to try to educate people about the endangered and threatened species that are here in Del Norte County. So.
And what inspired you to make the poetry about the pollinators?
I love animals, all creatures, and I've always been observant of the animal world, and I got a degree in biology, so I've always been out watching creatures, but later on I became a writer. So I decided that that would be my medium as far as educating people through art as opposed to actually science. Actually kind of a combination of art and science. So anyway, that's, yeah.
And how long have you been doing poetry?
Since I was 13 years old, many years.
Is there a poem that you consider to be your magnum opus or greatest creation?
Well, I'll tell you, in the 7th grade, Mrs. Peck, my 7th grade teacher, asked me to write a haiku, and the haiku went like this. A soft summer breeze whisks away a tiny seed, new planted flower. Okay, I wrote that when I was in the 7th grade, and that poem turned me on to poetry, because haiku makes your mind stretch in a different way, and it makes you say things that you wouldn't normally say. So I got totally turned on to poetry by writing a haiku when I was in the 7th grade.
So you'd say haiku is your specialty?
Haiku is one specialty, but I write also essay and I write also free verse. So, but I do like haiku.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, but I just want people, I'm really glad people came to the fair, and I'm really glad that people are becoming more aware to help save all the pollinators, including the bees and butterflies. And
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
We then spoke with the person who was the mastermind behind the event herself, Marcia Morgan.
So you hosted the Pollinator Palooza. You put this all on, right?
Yeah, well, me and all the people I mentioned, there's quite a few helpers.
So what inspired you to host this Pollinator Palooza?
Well, part of it was part of my art grant that I got from California Arts Council, and it's called Upstate California Creative Corps. It's a pilot program that they're open to individual artists and organizations, and hopefully if we did good, all the counties in California have one. So Del Norte, they chose 3 of us to do a grant. If we're successful at it, they'll ask the legislature to do this program again, so other people can do this same thing. They could make an art.
So this, as of now, is a one-of-a-kind thing that's never been...
Right, pilot program. Yeah, that's it. But hopefully someone else next year will have a chance to do the same thing, only they can choose different things. I chose environmental, so there was the other social justice and
It's pretty cool to think that it could spread to other places that originated at Delaware County.
yeah. So each county had its own, but we're called upstate because it's the upper 17 counties of California.
And is the turnout for this event about what you expected?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, Crescent City is smaller, so I actually talked to some of the other grantees from other counties, and they were kind of upset that they got the word out, but not that many people came. So thanks to people like you, K-Fug, and you guys, Redwood Voice. That we really need people to get the word out, especially in a small county like this. So it was pretty good.
And would you say the mission has been accomplished? Have the kids learned an adequate amount
Oh
about pollinators?
yeah, they had fun. We were at the Family Resource Center and we learned about pollinators together. And yeah, the dancers, they got to do their dance routine. And yeah, I guess the definition of palooza, I guess, is over the top kind of thing. Like, don't they have Lollapalooza, or they did? It's a big art show and dance and music, kind of like a concert. Well, this is just a small version of that.
The Pollinator Palooza was a great way to spend a Saturday morning. I loved how the show was a medley of different mediums, all focused under the umbrella of showcasing how important pollinators are, especially in a rural community like ours. I hope this will be an ongoing event, and then maybe we'll see you there next year.
For Redwood Voice Community News, I'm Ethan Caudill-Derego.
And I'm Rory McCain.